I believe in an America where the separation of church and state is absolute, where no Catholic prelate would tell the president, should he be Catholic, how to act, and no Protestant minister would tell his parishioners for whom to vote, where no church or church school is granted any public funds or political preference, and where no man is denied public office merely because his religion differs from the president who might appoint him or the people who might elect him. I believe in an America that is officially neither Catholic, Protestant, nor Jewish, where no public official either requests or accepts instructions on public policy from the Pope, the National Council of Churches, or any other ecclesiastical source, where no religious body seeks to impose its will, directly or indirectly, upon the general populace or the public acts of its officials, and where religious liberty is so indivisible that an act against one church is treated as an act against all.
Hello everybody, and welcome to another book reading with Jörg Glismann and Bret Norman on Codeword Barbelon. 666 Danger in the Vatican. And Jörg, how you doing over there in Belgium?
Well, I told you already before, so let's not share that with all the listeners. But for the rest, I'm quite in a good mood. I am enjoying wonderful sunny day today on what's becoming a Sabbath, because it's Friday afternoon, so it's preparation day. So within a few hours, my Sabbath will start, and it's just really wonderful weather. I went out with the dog for an hour, but I don't know. I think the dog also has a little bit of problem that my mother is in the hospital for the moment, because she didn't eat anything yesterday evening. I bought yesterday in the supermarket a fresh chicken, and then I put that chicken in a pan, and I baked it in a pan, and then I cooked some rice, and with the leftover of oil and juice of the chicken, I put the rice in there and put the rice in the pan also, and that chicken smelled so good. Even though I'm vegan, I took out of the bowl of my dog and ate this piece of chicken just to show her, look how nice it is. Of course, it was cold in the meantime. You can't give a dog hot food, but she didn't eat it, not a little bit. And then I tried again at midnight yesterday, nothing. Then I tried again this noon after we came back from a walk, nothing. And now she's laying here half on my cushion on the bed and sleeping. And I hope that tonight she will start to eat a little bit, but that's out of my hands,
It is, yeah.
The only thing that I can do is prepare food that is so tasty that I would even eat it.
Yeah,
more I can't do.
Right.
Anyway, I'm back. I'm back with you on the reading on Codeword Barbelon, Danger in the Vatican, this great book, which all of a sudden now, almost 2 months after starting, we have not even yet reached the half of the book.
No,
but we are not so far away anymore. We are going to continue today on the bottom of page 190. Mm-hmm. We are still reading in this chapter number 18, which is called the Jesuit Secret Service, Confessional, or the All-Seeing Eye, because actually, as we have learned already, through the confessional, the Roman Catholic Church has an all-seeing eye in everything that you do or that's interesting of interest to you, like your family, the relations that your spouse maybe has, or your wife maybe has with the priest. Well, that's something that is, of course, not written in the Bible that it should be that way. But the Roman Catholic Church abuses this power that she has to the fullest. And we are going to continue reading in this. Bret, if it's all right with you, I'm going to start right away.
Okay, please. Yes,
yeah?
I'm ready.
Okay, on the bottom of page 190, we read the subchapter is called The Leaking Seal of the Confessional. We read much earlier on in the constitutions of his order, that is the order of the Society of Jesus, that Ignatius Loyola, quote, laid it down that each of his sons ought to have a keen eye for the unconsidered trifles of life, unquote. For what purpose? Professor Paolo Sarpi, the 17th century Venetian historian and ex-priest, explains, quote, everybody in Italy is well aware how they have wrought confession into an art, using confession to the advantage of their order, i.e. the Society of Jesus, of course, and the Roman Catholic Church. At the same time, they preach the doctrine that the seal of the confession precludes a penitent from disclosing what the confessor has said to him, even though his utterances have had no reference to sin or to the saving of the soul, unquote. Let me just remind you, when we were speaking about the gunpowder plot, you probably remember that there some people retreated to I cannot tell you this because I was told that in the confessional, and that is secret because of the confessional. Yeah? Mm-hmm. So they always use it in the way that that fits for the Roman Catholic Church, especially for the Jesuits. Mm-hmm. And J.H. Allen adds that the confessional has been, quote, developed to a system inconceivably vigilant and minute, touching every step of daily conduct. The skill trained under that system had become a science, unquote. It is by means of this quote-unquote science that the Jesuit general sees and hears, and I add the word all and everything. As the Jesuit-trained Voltaire verily testifies, quote, in some countries there are state mysteries unknown to the public, of which revealed confessions form no inconsiderable part, unquote. For Paris tells us, and this is a relation to Edmond Paris, the author, among other books, of The Secret History of the Jesuits, Paris tells us that it was, quote, through the confessional the Jesuits secured lasting political influence. The confessional, wrote Delessa, gives the Jesuit a secret at once that the spy of a government might not ascertain in a year, if ever, unquote. I hope that point came clearly through last time. Mm-hmm. When we were speaking about the confessional. When I told you that today the confessional has not that big importance anymore, because the Roman Catholic Church rules the state, and she orders the state to give her that information that otherwise she had gotten through the confessional. And the state does that by implementing listening into Facebook, emails, your browser history on the internet, everything else, mm-hmm. Checking and controlling your tablet, your cell phone, your iPhone,
profiles,
smartphone, profiles. You know, they know more about you because of your using of the quote unquote technology. I don't want to even say just internet, but because of your using, and me too, by the way. Mm-hmm. I don't exclude me. I don't use Facebook and all that stuff because of that, but that's no, it doesn't make a difference if I use Facebook or not, because if they want to get me, they get me anyway.
Yeah, of course.
They know more about me than I probably know about me. And with Bret, the same stuff. Yeah. But the point is that I am not voluntarily even giving them more than I have to. And that's why I don't use Facebook or any other social media for that matter. I just don't want to give them the idea that I am even using that, probably being ignorant. I'm saying, no, I'm aware of this, and I know that you get anything of me anyway, but I at least am aware of it and try to reduce the amount of knowledge about me I give you about me to the degree that I can. Yeah. And Bret does the same.
Yeah,
that's right. Why we are not on the social media. But the point is that in the confessional, through the wrong religion of Roman Catholicism, that states that outside of the Roman Catholic Church there is no salvation. So everybody who is a Roman Catholic has to believe and live in way that he accepts that outside of the Roman Catholic Church there is no salvation. And the Roman Catholic Church teaches in her doctrines that to get to this salvation, you need to be a partaker of the sacraments, of the works, of the quote-unquote holy works of the Church. And the confessional is one.
Mm-hmm.
So when you are a Roman Catholic and you believe that you need the Church to be saved, you need to go to the confessional. And in the confessional, the priest asks you questions that we cannot even discuss here. So vulgar and disgusting. And you will see that when you follow my advice that I told you last time. Read the book of Charles Jiniquy. 50 Years in the Church of Rome is one thing, but the other one is the priest, the woman, and the confessional.
Yes, that's
and
the
especially,
one.
And especially read in the back the Latin questions that the priest asks the penitent, because that's what he's going to call the one who is going to the confession, what he asks the penitent. And the penitent can be a boy or a girl, and I speak about underage, I speak about 12 years and even less. It can be the wife of a husband, and it can be, of course, the spouse of a wife, the man of a husband, the man of a husband, the husband of a wife.
Mm-hmm.
And because they are indoctrinated to believe that outside of the Roman Catholic Church there is no salvation, they have to completely obey everything the Roman Catholic Church teaches in this regard, meaning they have to go to the confessional and they have to reveal their innermost secrets, because that's what it's all about. And by revealing the innermost secrets, they are revealing everything the Society of Jesus, and before that the Roman Catholic Church and their own hierarchy, before the Jesuits, before the 1540s, everything that they need to control these people. Now today, and that's the point that I want to make, we are not using the confessional that much anymore, and that is why the Roman Catholic Church gave the state the order to gather all that information that she normally would have gotten through the confessional through technical means, as they do today. And the point is that what I just reading here, that the penitent, from disclosing what the confessor has said to him, even though his utterances have had no reference to sin or to the saving of the soul, and they gave this all voluntarily. They gave that voluntarily because they thought they needed to give that to the priest or to the confessor, which is mostly the priest, of course, to attain salvation. And today they are giving it voluntarily through this different technical appliances. Whether it's computer, cell phone, smartphone, iPad, or whatever, tablet, or it is the normal computer, or anyway, and they give it voluntarily. I mean, they give it voluntarily when they use these social networks, you know, and that's the point, yeah. But they're giving exactly the same information, and well, the book, I don't know, do you have any comment on what I just said, Bret, or do you?
Oh, you know, I was thinking, well, you know, I see a lot of things here that maybe I should, excuse me, save to the end of the reading, I was thinking instead. So then I don't break it up so much. But I was just thinking, you know, in terms of this art that was mentioned in the previous paragraph, or is it in this second paragraph that we read today? Professor Paolo Sarpi, in the 17th century Venetian historian, ex-Jesuit, explains, quote, everybody in Italy is well aware how they have wrought confession into an art. And I just think of the arts, and, you know, of course, you know, my dad was an artist, and I think of, you know, those songwriters and musicians out there that call themselves artists. Well, it's all fine and good when your art is within the bounds of the Bible, but the minute you go outside those bounds, watch out.
Bravo, Bret. Because music is not to be damned, but the music that is playing in this world today has nothing to do with the glorifying of God.
You know,
But
I was at, yeah, it's really something that way, isn't it, Jörg?
Yeah, but when you produce music in your heart, as the Bible says, sing the Psalms with the melody of your heart, something like that is stated in the Bible, then you are doing good music.
Right.
We have to, because Bret, you mentioned this music part.
Yes.
I just want to say one thing.
Please.
When in heaven, Lucifer,
yes,
when he was the highest of all the angels, he was the master of music.
That's right.
Yeah? There was no one that came even close to producing music the way that Lucifer could do. He was the absolute master of it. And of course, this is a art, between quotation marks. He took this with him when he fell from heaven on into this world and became Satan. And the music that we have today is sometimes, even most of the time, so intriguing to listen to. It gets you so easily.
Yes, it does.
And it is wonderful for entertainment and enjoyment, but it is not enjoying in the way that music should be enjoying for the for God, for the Bible.
Well, you know, there's something very plastic about it. And I'm using the word plastic as an influence. It's you know, it is intriguing. It draws you in. The problem is that it comes out of nowhere. I mean, you know, you get these cars that have these young guys put like dozens of batteries in their cars, and then they have these amplifiers that are like 2,000 watts and plus, and then they have these huge 18-inch woofers in there, and they're blasting the whole neighborhood. I mean, I hear them drive by all the time where I live, and I'll tell you, it makes me sick when I hear it.
Yeah.
It makes me sick. I just think of all of that. I mean, that's basically an extension of Lucifer, if you ask me. You're
surely, yes,
pounding that shit, excuse my French, into other people's head, whether they want it or not. Pardon me, but that's really the case here. It really sucks. Who created this? These laws are not good. We can do this publicly? Oh, and fornication's okay, huh? This is what makes me just sick. You know, the crap we have to put up with and is never explained. You know, no one sits down and says, you know, this is wrong. No, you're just going through your life, going through the motions of your life. And, you know, in the midst of it, you know, and art is good. Excuse me. No, it's not. But, you know, I don't know. I was never told this stuff when I was a kid. And when I got to be older, you know, I was really, really into it, really into the arts. And boy, it was, you know, you're just asking for it. If you don't question the principalities behind it, you're just asking for it. You're just asking for God to just slam your face right down in the mud. And that's what happened to me. You know, I'm not afraid to share my story. But that's...
No, neither of us.
No. I mean, we can't be afraid anymore of it. I mean, it's just, you know, we're living a new life now. That old life is gone.
Why should we be afraid of something?
That's
because
right.
we have the freedom with which Christ has made us free.
Yeah, praise the Lord for that. That's incredible. But, I mean, you know... It's just something I needed to comment on because
but that's okay. That's okay. Music is your thing, and of course I thought that you would go into that, and that's all right. Now let's not go too far away from the subject on hand here, because we want to continue in the book. But I really thought it was very important to make that impression in the minds of the listener of this video, that they understand when they say, well, yeah, the confessional, why are we talking about that? Because Today, it is probably even worse than it was then, without even us knowing it. We are using these technical features, technology, whatever they are giving us, and using it for our quote-unquote advantage, we think, but in secret, we give to them everything that they ever wanted.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Plus,
and that is something that we... Yeah.
Plus, we've lost that communal kind of love for each other, where we respect each other, and we're, it's gone. It's not here anymore.
Yeah, just for example, I mean, I have never been on Facebook, but I know that you have there this friendships. I mean, so and so many friends on Facebook or on Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
Let me tell you one thing. When you tomorrow come into any kind of trouble and you have to rely on a friend, try to rely on a quote-unquote friend that you know from Facebook, and you will see how fast they will be running away.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Once you really need them. There's this wonderful saying that I found a time ago on the internet, and that says, I asked God to protect me from my enemies, and all of a sudden I started losing friends.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you think? And by using even the word friends via this Facebook stuff, being befriended or being friend with someone who you have never seen, who you don't know, except for what you read about him on the internet, that even breaks down the value of the word friend and friendship.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know you, Bret, also only from the internet.
Yeah, that's right.
But I know you as if you were a physical brother of mine.
Yeah, that's right. We've grown together through our interactions and our what would you call these?
Well, through our mutual love for the Lord.
That's it. Yeah, right. That's even deeper.
And that's it's just that easy. It's nothing else more. So I know that in you I really do have a friend.
Mm-hmm.
But if I would have had if I had Facebook, for example, and let's say on my YouTube channel I have 8,500 subscribers, and all of these 8,500 subscribers were quote-unquote friends on Facebook, I wouldn't dare count on one of them if I really needed them.
Mm-hmm.
That's the point that I would make. Listen, okay, let's not go all too far away, but I think it is a very important point that the people understand. We are speaking here about 16th, 17th, 18th, even 19th century church policy of the confessional, and that people have to understand that today we have the same quote-unquote problem, but just without even knowing us. Because we are not going to a confessional anymore, no, but we use our cell phones, our tablets, our computers, and all that stuff, and because they look into that, well, they got us, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Gonna continue here. J.H. Allen adds that the confessional has been, quote, developed to a system inconceivably vigilant and minute, touching every step of daily conduct, the same as you have today with the surveillance. For what purpose is all of this information gathered? The Abbot Leone, an ex-Jesuit, and you know what to think of the word ex-Jesuit, reminds us of a fact first before mentioned. Quote, every day the general receives a number of reports which severally check each other. There are in the central house at Rome huge registers wherein are inscribed the names of all the Jesuits and of all the important persons, friends, or enemies with whom they have any connection. In those registers are recorded facts relating to the lives of each individual. It is the most gigantic biographical collection that has ever been formed. The conduct of a light woman, the hidden failings of a statesman, are recounted in these books with cold impartiality. When it is required to act in any way upon an individual, they open the book and become immediately acquainted with his life. They become immediately acquainted with his character, his qualities, immediately acquainted with his defects, his projects, his family, his friends, his most secret acquaintances. the first thing that struck me was some great books of the form of registers, with alphabeted edges. I found that they contained numerous observations relative to the character of distinguished individuals, arranged by towns or families. Each page was evidently written by several different hands. Now, let me just go into the footnote here. We are speaking about a book from Abbot M. Leoni, The Jesuit Conspiracy, and we were speaking about that book earlier. I don't even go into that. But the point that I want to make is that this book was published in 1848. It says here further in the footnote, Leoni was a young Jesuit, and according to this book, there was a meeting at his novitiate in Chieri, Italy, involving Jesuit General Rothahn and his provincials in 1825. Rothahn, among with his successor, was, by the way, the one responsible for the Catholic invasion of the 19th century in the United States of America. Bex, I think, was his successor's name. If what Leoni says about the information contained in these comprehensive registers is true, then heaven help us. Leoni's notes also record the Jesuits' plan for setting up a world government by controlling the Roman Catholic hierarchy, all the monarchies and governments. The notes were translated into English in 1848 and have been thoroughly authenticated. Now, why am I reading this footnote to you? Do you have any imagination that this was in 1848, dealing with registers they put up there even 200 years before, from the beginning of the founding of the Jesuit order? And we are speaking today about a time of 170 years ago. What do you think they did in the meantime? Sit on their thumbs? And that's the point that I made earlier in this broadcast. Now they are using all the technical facilities they have to even go deeper into that. And when I tell you that they know you better than you know yourself, I am not exaggerating.
Yep, and even more so when you are more of a quote unquote powerful person, or you have influence on others, then you are targeted, I would imagine.
Sure, they are not so much interested in John Doe,
yeah,
but they are interested in what they think are the terrorists and, of course, are the people in power positions.
That's it.
I mean, Angela Merkel or President Donald Trump, they can't leave a fart without the NSA knowing that.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but that's the point, you know. It sounds
Right.
maybe funny, but that's the point.
Yeah, yeah.
The NSA will hold it 10 years from here against President Trump that he, for once, drilled in his nose to get a little bugger out.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
While he was sitting on his toilet doing number 2 and thinking of his wife or something, you know?
Mm-hmm. Right. Yep.
This is how far this surveillance goes.
Exactly.
And when you understand what Leoni wrote here about the state of that surveillance in 1848, can you even imagine what it's like 170 years later, 2018? Now, with this testimony of Leoni, the learned Dr. James Atkin Wiley concurs, quote, every year a list of the houses and members of the society with the name, talents, virtues, and failings of each is laid before the general of the Society of Jesus. In addition to this annual report, every one of the 37 provincials must send him a report monthly of the state of his province. He must inform him minutely of its political and ecclesiastical condition. Every superior of a college must report once every 3 months. The heads of houses of residence and houses of novitiates must do the same. In short, From every quarter of his vast dominions come a monthly and tri-monthly report. But mark this, if the matter reported on has reference to persons outside the society, the constitutions direct that the provincials and superiors shall write to the general in cipher, unquote. What is cipher? Maybe you understand the word enigma better.
Mm-hmm.
That means in a secret code. In addition to these reports, P.D. Stuart continues on the bottom of page 193. In addition to these reports, provincials outside of Italy, but within Europe, must report every 4 months, and superiors in quote-unquote missionary lands beyond Europe must do so once a year. Thus, from every quarter of his vast dominion, the general of the Society of Jesus sent monthly, tri-monthly, and annual reports. But what did Wiley say? Where a matter reported on has reference to persons outside the society or order, the Jesuit constitutions direct that the provincials and superiors shall write to the general in cipher. That is to say, by means of enigmas or symbolic emblems. Why? Such precautions are taken against enemies, says the French lawyer Chalotet. Lastly, we have the mission houses, or novitiates, where an army of Jesuits lives unnoticed, apparently normal, everyday lives as secular clergy, but seeking by every inconceivable means to promote the interests of the society by any means necessary. The end justifies the means. Never ever forget. To cite Abate Leone again, names in registers are also found in the offices of the provincials and in the novitiate houses. Those are the seminaries or Jesuit colleges. And we spoke about that earlier when we spoke about the training of a Jesuit. So everybody listening to this knows what a novitiate house is. So that when one Jesuit follows another in office, he has at his fingertips the fullest knowledge of the most secret lives of those for whom he is to labor, whether they are friends or foes. Amazing. Amazing. Reader, I have mentioned these facts at length because they assist us in comprehending the importance of the confessional to the archives of the Holy Office at Rome, the command and control center of the Secret Service of the Roman Catholic Church. It was the realization of this fact which prompted Dr. James Edgar Wiley to write, quote, "The general sees by 1,000 eyes, he hears by 1,000 ears," unquote. I leave you with a nobly eloquent passage on this very point from the American historian Dave Hunt, who wrote, among others, the book The Woman Rides the Beast. Quote, "The Pope has thousands of secret agents worldwide. They include Jesuits, the Knights of Columbus, the Knights of Malta, Opus Dei, and others. The Vatican's intelligence service and its field resources are second to none." Why should any reasonable person doubt this to be true when Jesuit priest and Vatican diplomat Malachi Martin told us that he was, quote-unquote, a spy in the Vatican Secret Service? And let me tell you something else. We are speaking about, for example, the CIA as the American intelligence service that is, quote-unquote, put up to protect the Americans from being spied on from the outside. Mm-hmm. In other countries, you have services like the MI5 and the MI6 in England. You have the Mossad in Israel. You have the KGB, which now changed its name because that was the time of the Soviet Union, still the Communist Soviet Union. But you have the same organization. I don't know the abbreviation of that anymore, but when I say the KGB, you understand probably what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
You have in Germany, of course, the MAD, Militärischer Abschirmdienst. You have the Sicherheitsdienst and all that stuff in Germany. You have all these secret intelligence agencies in every country. Now, the point is, dear listener, do your own research on this.
Mm-hmm.
The Jesuits control all of these intelligence agencies. All of that information that every one of this intelligence agency gathers wherever it does, all this information is sent to Rome. There they all come together. They know everything of everyone everywhere. That's the point. So there is no quote-unquote war between the CIA and the KGB. Not on the top levels, maybe on the lower levels, because
there must be on the lower levels because everyone likes to talk about that so much, you know. Well, he said this and she said that, you know.
On the lower levels, you have, of course, people working who are not initiated into the full knowledge. You have the esoteric and not
can't talk about
you have exoteric and not the esoteric knowledge. This is why they could play this quote-unquote Cold War before our eyes.
That's right.
And we all were thinking, oh, I hope the Americans win. I hope the Russians don't win, because otherwise we become all communists.
Yeah.
Now look at your country in America. You are communist without even realizing it.
Yeah.
Because you're living in a communist country. And I live here in Belgium too. It's called a democracy on the outside, but it's communist. Because I have to pay Social Security.
Of our heritage, you know.
Listen, if I don't pay my Social Security next month, I cannot do any work. That is the mark of the beast.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah?
That is.
They control everything, everyone and everything through all their intelligence agencies. So this quote-unquote war between the CIA and the KGB some years ago in the Cold War, that was just for show.
Mm-hmm.
The initiated people always knew better.
Mm-hmm.
And they were having a laugh. I don't play chess. I don't play chess myself. But I think that the guy who plays chess laughs what he does with the figures he sets on the board. Because the figures have no idea what they are doing. They are just figures. And that is maybe why Zbigniew Brzezinski called his book The Grand Chessboard.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. So, Bret, we've come to the completion of an hour for the first recording today. And when we come back together, I just want to close this down because this was the end of chapter 18, and we are going to continue with the next reading in chapter 19 on page 195. And chapter 19, oh, please don't miss this. It's called Hitler, Mussolini, Marx, and Stalin, good students of the Jesuits. Oh, that's gonna be interesting. I'm looking forward to reading that. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for being here and sharing this information. And when you are using all these, even though that I blame them, social media like Facebook, like Twitter, like I don't know what the name is all of this stuff, then share this video on these platforms that this information can get out, that you shout it from the rooftops, that the Roman Catholic Church controls it all, that there is no new world order but a restored old world order, and that the papacy was, is, and will be until the second coming of Jesus Christ, the biblical, historical, and prophetic Antichrist. I'm done. Until next time, Jogler66 says God bless you and bye-bye.
Thank you, Jörg. That was a really great reading of a very difficult subject, actually. the confessional. And today's confessional is a bottomless pit of digital data that is accessible by who knows who. I don't know. You know, this is really interesting study we're doing, and we're going to get deeper into it very soon here, this next chapter coming up. And we're going to meet a little bit later today. And thank you, Jörg. And we'll catch up with everyone next time. And God bless. Bye-bye for now.
Just a moment ago, the entire top of the building collapsed. You can see a massive plume of smoke. People are running away from the area. There are firefighters and there are police trying to evacuate the area as quickly as possible. People trying to evacuate the area as quickly as possible. People trying to evacuate the area as quickly as possible. People trying to evacuate the area as quickly as possible.
I believe we, and particularly you, your class, has an incredible window of opportunity to lead in shaping a new world order for the 21st century in a way consistent with American interest and the common interest. Think of the possibilities. For the first time in world history, the use of corruption and oligarchs as a sinister tool in the conduct of foreign policy.
That day, His Holiness will be the first Pope in our history to address a joint session of Congress.
For the first time in world history, the use of corruption and oligarchs as a sinister tool in the conduct of foreign policy.
We're humbled that the Holy Father has accepted our invitation and certainly look forward to receiving his message on behalf of the American people.
Countries emerging from chaos in the midst of war, challenges to the international order on the high seas and in the skies.
The fall of Ramadi has galvanized the Iraqi government, so with the additional steps I ordered last month, we're speeding up training of ISIL forces, including volunteers from Sunni tribes in Anbar province.
And where major powers come together to deal with the challenges of our time that require us all to act in concert. And there are many challenges, including violent extremism.
We did not claim or annex Iraq's territory. We did not grab its resources for our own gain. Instead, we ended our war and left Iraq to its people in a fully sovereign Iraqi state that can make decisions about its own future.
For the first time in world history, the use of corruption and oligarchs as a sinister tool in the conduct of foreign policy.
That order and progress can only come when individuals surrender their rights to an all-powerful sovereign.
A lot of our history comes from Rome. We have to recognize that. It was old Gibbon who said that when the wars are fought, the victors tell the story. I'm not giving his words exactly, but that's the gist of what he says. He says, in other words, it is the victors who tell the story. So if you're a defeated Christian small group, then your story is told from the standpoint of those who conquered you.